Okay, Molly, so who did you get? Or
Okay.
who are you supposed to be?
I'm gonna be Rosenblatt.
Oh, Rosenblatt? Okay,
Yeah,
Louise
okay.
Rosenblatt.
Yeah,
And so I'm supposed to be Freire, so.
Okay.
Alright, so I just read this book for Dr. Scare's class. It's, The Reader of the Text and the Poem. Have you read it?
No.
Okay, let me see. But you know about Rosenblatt? Or no? Do you want me to?
Well, I just looked her up really quickly here, and
she's all about transaction, like meeting the text as if you would be meeting a human, just that interaction and that intimacy that happens between people and text should. Well, let me just read you what I wrote. Do you want to see some of it? Or do you want to read some of it?
Yeah, just read it out loud to me.
Okay.
I'll take notes as you're reading.
Okay, so let's see. Rosenblatt. Transformative teachers introduce a poem to a reader in a way that encourages intimacy and close attention, perhaps. How can one anticipate some of the foreseeable difficulties in attempting to make risky introductions? It seems to me that Rosenblatt might argue for us to first relax and recall how precious our own first introduction to that poem was, and then to remove the barriers that might hinder such a meaningful moment. Will anarchy erupt if there's an initial misinterpretation of a poem by a student? Goodness, I hope not. Does that make sense? Okay, so here's a direct quote. Okay, so those who seek a unitary criterion of interpretation fear that the alternative is complete subjectivism, the reader alone. This is a false dilemma. We do not need to accept as the sole criteria either the banishment of the author or the absolutism of the author's intention.
Can you translate that for me?
Okay, so basically this idea that it can't just be this alienating process of trying to figure out a text. And so the idea that there's no one right way to interpret a work of art, whether it's a poem or a piece of literature, and that it's unfair for teachers to set it up in a way that is there is this one interpretation and this is it. To say, Ish is about XYZ. That would be unfair of the teacher.
Okay.
It would be unfair to the student. It would be unfair to the author of Ish.
Okay.
No?
Yeah.
Is
Yeah. No, I get it.
Okay.
So she's also the one that talks about aesthetic reading and then the effort reading.
Yeah.
Right? So first we read for the pleasure part, right? That's the aesthetic part, and then the effort part where we delve deeper into it, and that finding the meaning, there's no one correct meaning. Am I close to what you're...
Right. That's how I understood it.
Okay.
Well, anyway, we're just messing around, right? So we can play with this.
Okay.
Okay, so the thing with me is, I'm super nervous about being Freire because I think I get Freire, but I think I need to read more. So, I don't know. What do you think Freire would say? I mean, especially about Ish. Would he say that there's not enough... Well, no, because there is action, right? And there is a lot of... There's praxis there.
What angle are you coming in from if you're going to talk about Freire?
I think in terms of... Yeah, I think in terms... Maybe in terms of the transformation that occurs in Ramon's character as he's reading his world, right?
Okay.
Right? Because he does transform, and he starts to experience everything around him. Am I right? What would Freire say? Okay, let me look it up.
Okay, if I'm thinking about Freire, I'm thinking about, also collectivity, Ramon didn't come to on his own.
Yeah.
He didn't come to it on his own.
Oh, it was the dialogue. It's the dialogic process between him and Marisol, right?
Yeah. So his sister came in and say, "Hey, your paintings are awesome," and then she kind of gave him,
and they worked together. They
a new lens to look at.
Right.
Look at his paintings. So.
Right. Oh, you know what this reminds me of is the older brother. He would be the oppressor, right? The one who comes in with the banking model of that doesn't look like a vase. That's not what a vase is
supposed to look like. Yeah, it has to be
right.
Right. The right format of painting.
Okay. So now, do you think we're kind of ready to take on the role? I mean, should we go look at the rest of the artwork now? Should we try to talk about the rest of this art now?
But let's just think about, like, if you were to say one line, like if Rosenblatt was to say one line about this book, like after reading this book, what would Rosenblatt say? Like, would she say, I love this book as the aesthetic side, but for the purposes of this project, we need to look deeper into the meaning, the efferent side? Like what would she say?
I guess it would depend. I think she would say that it would depend on the piece.
Okay.
So I guess if you're talking about the book, then it was...
I don't know either.
This is hard.
No, I mean, I think this is part of the process, no? Like if we're to assume an identity, one of the theorists' identity, we need to delve into possible dialogues that they're going to be saying. Like Frey would say, the little boy Ramon was reading his world and using that to impact his art. And he didn't, his art were not like, go ahead.
Okay, I think I know what Rosenblatt might say.
Okay,
I think she might say that this is a wonderful text. Yet that yes, she loves it. We would hope that she loves it, but that she loves it because it creates this space or this experience or this moment that this text is like a little person, like a friend that we meet, that we can have depending on who we are, the background that we're coming with, the experiences that we're bringing to the table, all our schema, all of these wonderful like little treasure chests that we bring to the table, that we are able to make our own interpretation of Ish through that lens of that interpersonal, and that transaction results because of who I am and who that book can be as a result of who I am. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That it's not that book is not that Ish is not a static. There's no one theme in Ish. There are these multiple perspectives that we could take because we have multiple perspectives, right? And that the most beautiful thing about Ish is that it creates an opportunity for us to engage intimately with a piece of literature.
Yes.
Maybe she would say that.
Yes.
She would say it a lot better.
Yeah. Okay.
So what?
Let's think about this.
Okay, so the thing about it makes me wonder, like, what Freire would say about that in terms of power, like the power struggle, right? So I think that actually the way that the little brother and sister resist, or I think Marisol has a really like key role to this, and I think Freire would probably speak to the way that she's able to liberate her big brother's perspective. And do you know what I'm saying? Like Marisol is kind of the
catalyst for that change,
Yeah.
And you just reminded me of something here. There's a piece where I read Freire talked about adopting the language of his world, of his adult world.
Yeah.
Marisol was the one who said, "Well, it looks vase-ish," she exclaimed. So Ramon took that language and it gave him kind of the power to go ahead and continue with art.
That's right.
It didn't shut him down. It didn't limit him.
That's right.
So,
and that's the point. That's the point of education. That's the point of art, that we engage in that renaming.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. All right. Okay.
Again, Faye would say it a lot better, or slower.
Yes.
And wiser.
Yeah, much wiser. Okay, so I think we're kind of ready to...
You ready to go look at the...
Yeah, I think we're kind of ready also to really jot down a dialogue between the two.
Let's do that.
Yeah, let's do that. And then I think that would be perfect. We kind of have some idea right now.
Okay, good.
I mean...
How long did that take us? Not too long, right?
Yeah, okay.
You ready to start?
Yeah, let's start. Okay. I can type it.